And it's something that I see reflected elsewhere. Like when, for example, when I try to talk about yoga, and maybe we can talk about the article that I wrote for the site, but we don't have to.
Yeah,
But
do.
when I can try to confront some of these new age issues, I get a lot of people pushing back, like, no, yoga's totally fine, it's Christian. Or like someone shared a heavy metal video from like a Christian heavy metal band, and I was listening to this. I'm like, this just sounds worldly. Like, yeah, they have Christian sounding lyrics, but the imagery and the music is entirely worldly. And it seems to me that with endorsing Taylor Swift and others, that's kind of what's happening. It's an attempt to baptize, secular culture. Yes, and as Connor says, meat sacrificed to idols. My favorite is at First Corinthians 7, I think is what that is. Yeah, it's me.
Yeah,
yeah.
good.
Connor sees me dealing with that all the time. So shout out to my bro. But that's the thing, is like they're trying to baptize. Like, no. There's a gospel theme in here. That must mean it's totally okay. It's like that doesn't map.
It's basically excusing Christians just consuming worldly content, because if you can find some sort of loose gospel thread, like, oh, there was a redemption arc in that, ergo, as a Christian, I can now watch this, whatever it might be, murderous, pornographic, or sexually, immoral content, whatever it might be. I don't want to push that too far, but you could apply gospel themes to Game of Thrones hypothetically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that wouldn't make it acceptable Christian viewing. There are no actual gospel themes in there, but you could maybe find. I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones, thankfully, but I know enough from
You're better off. Trust me.
Yeah. I don't feel like I missed anything, and I heard it ended terribly, so therefore I feel like my decision was justified. Well, it was justified anyway, but increasingly justified, narratively justified.
Very much so. I mean, I during the time when Game of Thrones was on TV, I think there were 8 seasons, something, or was it 5 seasons or something? I don't remember. But I think it was during that time that I went from secular to Christian, somewhere in that, or not long after the last season ended. And I regret watching that show, like especially in the early seasons. Even when people said the show was good, there were images that I wish I could get out of my head. Right. And it's odd. It's odd to me, having watched that Christians would say, oh yeah, like that's totally fine to watch. Like it's not. You can maybe make the case that, some of the Marvel movies are okay because they're kind of, inane and harmless entertainment, like, mowing down alien CGI enemies is one thing, but the depravity of shows like of Game of Thrones, where like sadism and all these things are actively part of the story. I find it incomprehensible that Christians would try to baptize that.